Hi. One of your options for the plaster block carving is to make a non-objective or abstract carving. And you could just start in carving and see what happens. If you've never carved before, that might not be a bad idea. I'm going to encourage you to use the clay as a modeling tool, though, because it's so much easier to just work with this for a while. It's kind of like how I encouraged you to use the paper uh, before you went into the cardboard project, right? So one thing that's always a great idea is a repeated form um, for an abstract sculpture or really any art piece, and especially in 3D design where a lot of people, I don't know, I end up with a lot of students with drawing skills and 3D design. And a lot of times they really want to make very specific things and they have these pretty intense goals um, of being real specific with materials they've never used before. And I'm going to encourage you, if you've never carved before, to maybe back off. I know I've got a human form over here and all that, but and dive in, challenge yourself, but at the same time, it's just as challenging to carve maybe a bunch of triangles as it is in some ways to carve a human form. And that might be good because to try something like that, because maybe the human form, maybe that's not something you even really want to attempt to draw accurately. So why would you dive in and expect yourself to carve it? Now, understand that I don't care. Abstracted or non-proportional human figures would be just fine with me. Um, but anyways, so I am making kind of a prism shape out of this clay while I'm talking to you, and then I'm going to grab a knife real quick and slice this up. Then we're going to put it together and see if we can come up with something that might inspire me to carve. I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. I'm just going to show you, since we're here, this is like almost like a cheese slicer tool. And that works really nicely to make these shapes. You guys probably don't have specialized tools. So I'm gonna, in solidarity, I'm gonna get, this is still a clay tool specifically. It's called a fettling knife. But if you use a little water on like an old steak knife, you could probably get it to go through like this. So anyways, something kind of satisfying about slicing this up. Gonna end up with an ASMR YouTube channel. Anyways, so yeah, now I've got this repeated shape. So how could I start putting those together to make something that would be not too crazy hard to carve? I have to think about this more. Get back to you guys, but yeah, I don't know. I can start building something. What's good about the clay is that it's such a great modeling tool. And that would be quite the carving challenge. Maybe I want to try to make this a little easier on myself and make it more cubed. Wow. Is this like watching somebody do a puzzle? All right. I'm going to work with this and see if I can compact it a little bit more. I'll be right back. So I came up with a more compacted form that I think is a little more doable and maybe sort of interesting. And then I was looking at it and I was like, how about if I cut off some of these triangles and then have some like smaller areas of like texture or something? I think that would be more interesting. So I'm going to work with that for a minute and then I'll be back. Hi. So I got into this mode of kind of cutting off parts of the triangle and then sort of reattaching them in other areas to make it more blocky. I left a few negative spaces that I think are more interesting. And then I cut some round holes because I thought, yeah, I'm actually sick of triangles. It needs something more. After all, it's going to be a carving. It's kind of sort of reminding me of like nuts and bolts or something now. But I like that there's a big shape here and then everything else is kind of smaller on that side. And then on this side, a bunch of stacked shapes. This actually, now I'm looking at it, this might be something to carve out of a cylinder as opposed to a cube. It's kind of an interesting angle. So anyways, that's an idea of how you might approach making a non-objective or abstract carving. This could be a starting place, any side that you think is kind of interesting, and you could sketch it out like I did over here and start in. Now it's time to show you some carving techniques.